Have you ever asked yourselves why you don't feel truly happy? Lacking things brings great suffering, but abundance doesn't necessarily bring joy either. Earning 5 million a month makes you sad, but even earning 50 million or more, many people still don't feel content. It seems that the pursuit of happiness is an eternal human goal, much like the famous American philosopher Emerson once said. We have enough hopes in life, but we have never lived fully. As society progresses, luxuries that our grandparents once dreamed of have now become common household items. We have better living conditions, are healthier, and live longer than our ancestors. Logically, we should be happier, but why do our hearts and minds still not truly feel joyful? Why is that? Perhaps you'll find your answer in the book, Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience, by the Hungarian-American positive psychologist Dr. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Csikszentmihalyi researched psychology through a scientific lens to help you understand how to find true happiness in life. If you've read famous books like Happier, Learn the Secrets to Daily Joy and Lasting Fulfillment, Thinking, Fast and Slow, or The Road Less Traveled, then the authors of these books base their conclusions and research findings on the work presented in Flow. More accurately, Flow is not just a psychology book. It's a scientific work because it employs numerous survey and research methods to address a problem that people have yet to define, identify, or answer. What is happiness, and how can one live happily? Csikszentmihalyi argues that happiness stems from our inner order. To explain this, he uses a concept from physics, entropy. Entropy means the degree of disorder within an isolated system. One could say that the entire world around us, from the micro to the macro, exhibits this chaotic nature. Our bodies, from tiny molecules and atoms that are never still, to the planets in our solar system and galaxies, are all in constant motion within the universe. And entropy also occurs within our own minds. We are very susceptible to disorder here. Disorder means we are easily swayed by emotions and thoughts arising from the many desires and aspirations in life. Csikszentmihalyi calls this psychic entropy, meaning the disorder within the mind. An increase in this disorder is why we don't easily achieve happiness. So, what causes us to increasingly fuel this disorder, ultimately failing to find happiness for ourselves? This disorder comes from two aspects. First, it comes from the chaos of the universe. In The Road Less Traveled, it is stated that Earth was not originally designed for humans. Mother Nature constantly finds ways to make human life uncomfortable. Some places are too cold, others too hot. There are earthquakes and volcanoes. Humans must constantly struggle against nature to survive. Our influence on nature is incredibly small. Ultimately, after a lifetime of striving to survive, we must still adhere to the laws of the universe. All of us will eventually return to dust. Therefore, to live happily can only be determined by the reflections of our souls and our daily life experiences. The second source of disorder comes from within ourselves, and insatiable greed is the primary factor causing this chaos. What do we strive for our entire lives, work for our entire lives to obtain? Perhaps most of us feel vague about this. We always use what we achieve as a measure of our life's quality. However, desires constantly increase. So, pursuing a higher material standard of living is an endless goal. The richer you get, the richer you feel you need to be. We always feel it's never enough. After all, only when we experience joy in the process of an experience do we truly find happiness. Yet, unfortunately, we often focus all our minds on goals, unable to enjoy the present moment. Second, we are easily distracted. When studying or working, we constantly allow ourselves to be blinded by social media, phones, games, irrelevant apps. In reality, we are living under the operation of entropy, and we ourselves are increasing this disorder. Are we really going to let our lives be submerged by the chaos of entropy? While the universe is chaotic, it still has its rules. If there is positive and entropy, there is also anti-entropy. For example, our bodies age over time, but daily skincare and exercise aim to slow down the aging process. This is a form of anti-entropy. Second, when our minds are troubled, we often write diaries to vent and feel better, or we summarize experiences. These are also ways we practice anti-entropy. So the key to living better is our ability to practice anti-entropy. And to practice anti-entropy, it's crucial to focus and experience the present moment rather than fixating on outcomes or goals driven by desires. Csikszentmihalyi named these experiences optimal experience, also known as flow. Through optimal experiences, we can achieve happiness. So, what exactly is flow? What conditions do I need to enter a state of flow? Flow is a state that occurs when your mind is completely absorbed in the action you are performing. These are activities you find interesting and creative, making you forget time and even yourself while doing them. To achieve a state of flow, 5 conditions must be met. 1. You must love what you do. These are tasks you choose to do proactively, not passively. 2. You must possess certain skills, an ability to master what you are doing. 3. The activities must be challenging, but not overly so. The difficulty should be slightly above your current abilities. 4. After completion, there must be feedback and regular encouraging rewards. 5. Have clear goals and an overall understanding of the steps to achieve them. When these 5 conditions are met, you will easily enter a state of flow. Now, take a moment to reflect. Perhaps you've played a favorite video game before. Considering the conditions mentioned above, weren't you also immersed in a state of flow while playing that game? First condition, the game is truly interesting, you love it. Second condition, when you start playing, you completely control the actions and gradually master them. Third condition, all the challenges in the game are designed from easy to difficult, stimulating you to keep playing. Fourth, with each level you clear, you receive some reward. And fifth, when you play the game, you always have a clear objective in your mind, perhaps rescuing a princess or defeating monsters. However, you might ask, do playing games, engaging in entertainment, or even gambling or card games, activities where we become deeply engrossed, also bring happiness? Not exactly. To achieve happiness, you must satisfy another extremely important factor. The activity you perform must make you feel valuable and capable of making a difference compared to others. Therefore, mere entertainment or gambling doesn't truly offer you distinctive value. However, here's an interesting point. If the state of flow can be experienced through gaming, why don't we try to adapt the flow experience asterisk from games and apply it to our studies or work? So, how exactly do we apply this? Next, we'll explore easy steps to achieve a flow state in studying and working. Why do we often procrastinate on tasks and easily give up? Perhaps it's because the work is too difficult for us. Conversely, there are cases where we feel indifferent and easily bored because the work is too simple and often repetitive. Therefore, before doing anything, it is crucial to accurately assess your abilities to choose suitable work. Choosing the right job that matches your capabilities will make you enjoy the work more and more easily, enter a flow state. This is the first step, recognizing and accurately assessing your own abilities. Many young people, after graduating, work in fields unrelated to their majors, taking jobs that don't align with their expertise. There are also many who have worked for years in jobs they don't love. However, due to the pressures of survival or age, many people can't simply choose a new career from scratch. So, how can we still achieve flow when faced with jobs that aren't a perfect fit? First and foremost, you must adjust your mindset. If you can't change what's in front of you, learn to love what you have to do. Create meaning for these tasks, make them valuable by setting additional challenges and raising the requirements of the work. I once knew a neighbor named Kai who worked as a taxi driver. Every day, he was full of life and smiled brightly. Kai used to be a merchant, but perhaps he didn't have a knack for it. Every venture failed. So, after many years, he quit that profession and became a taxi driver. Compared to business, driving a taxi is relatively easier and repetitive. Other drivers, simply to make a living, spend their days hustling on familiar routes, often complaining about their lot. But Kai was different. He always found ways to make his job more interesting. Kai set fun challenges for himself during his familiar driving days. To improve customer satisfaction, he decided that, in addition to safe driving, he would challenge himself by enhancing his ability to converse with passengers. Today, the challenge was to make 3 people happy while talking. Tomorrow, it would be 4, the day after 5. And each day, these challenges continuously increased. In this way, every workday for Kai became exciting and filled with flow. Therefore, create challenges and set higher demands if your work is too easy for you. Conversely, if your current work is beyond your abilities, you can break down large tasks into many smaller ones and importantly, continuously learn to improve your capabilities and skills. For instance, if writing a thesis feels too difficult, break it down into smaller tasks. For example, write only 200 to 500 words each day. Additionally, to write better, you need to constantly improve your reading skills. In summary, the second crucial step for flow is to make your current work interesting. If it's too easy, add more challenges. If it's too difficult, break down the tasks and keep learning to enhance your abilities. And the third step, an extremely important one to enter a state of flow, is absolute focus. There's a great saying: if you control your focus, you control your entire life. In a world with so many chaotic and intertwined experiences, where you might be working but still checking the camera on your child at daycare, or when you sit down to study but can't resist scrolling through Facebook or watching TikTok, you might not even realize how much time you've wasted. Life has too many things that increase your entropy, and we gradually get submerged in distraction. The only way to solve this is to restore order within your mind by focusing on only one task you are doing in the present moment. When you read a book, just read, no Facebook, no TikTok. When you write a report, just write, no chit-chatting with colleagues. Not only for work and study, but controlling your focus in all aspects of life will bring you significant emotional liberation. You will always find flow, even in the smallest tasks. When you eat, focus on eating. When you walk, focus on walking. Or when you talk to your partner or parents, listen attentively instead of scrolling on your phone. Controlling distractions and living in the present can allow every moment of your life to be fully energized, and you will immerse yourself in your own flow. At that point, your life will truly be happy and meaningful. In summary, to live a happy life, you need to find ways to counter entropy by enabling yourself to find flow in everything you do. First, you need to recognize your own abilities and find purpose and meaning in each task you undertake. Second, create interest and enjoyment in every experience. And finally, aim for absolute focus, fully immersing yourself in the present moment. We hope that each of us will quickly find a state of living filled with flow, leading to happiness and having all desires within reach.